south of New Orleans, down where the bayous bleed into the marsh and the Gulf of Mexico whispers on the horizon. The fog rolls in thicker than a pot of gumbo. The air down here, it smells of salt, decay, and sometimes gunpowder. Folks in the little fishing towns like Lafitte and Barataria, they swear there's a ship that still sails these murky waters, a ghost schooner that appears in the thickest fog and vanishes just before the first light of dawn. They have a name for it. They call it Lafitte's Revenant. To understand the ghost, you have to understand the man. Back in the early 1800s, this entire region was the kingdom of one man, Jean Lafitte. To the Spanish, he was a pirate. To the Americans, he was a smuggler. But to the people of New Orleans during the War of 1812, he and his band of privateers, the Baratarians, were heroes. They ruled these labyrinthine waterways, their ships slipping through channels that weren't on any official map. Lafitte built a fortune, a mountain of gold, silver, and jewels, all stored away in his stronghold deep in the swamp. But empires fall. The United States government, once his tentative ally, grew wary of his power. They saw a pirate king on their doorstep. So the U.S. Navy was dispatched to Barataria Bay with one mission: seize Laffitte's fleet and confiscate his legendary treasure. But Lafitte was always one step ahead. Rather than let his fortune fall into their hands, he did the unthinkable. He torched his own fort, his own warehouses, everything. Under the cover of smoke and the ever-present fog, he and his most loyal men loaded the gold onto his favorite ship, the Pride, and slipped away into the maze of the marsh. The official story is that he escaped, living out his days elsewhere, but the Bayou tells a different tale. Some say his ship, heavy with gold, was caught in a sudden squall and never made it out of the pass, sinking to the muddy bottom. Others, the old-timers, they say it never left at all. They believe it still wanders these bays and lakes on the stormiest nights, forever searching for a way out that no longer exists. A cursed vessel, captained by a ghost, guarding its treasure for all eternity. And people see things. Shrimpers working late near Grand Isle. They'll tell you stories that'll make the hair on your arms stand up. They talk about seeing old-fashioned lanterns swaying gently over the water where there's no boat, no land, nothing. Just a flickering light in the mist. As soon as the light appears, the air turns unnaturally cold. Modern GPS systems flicker and die. Boat engines sputter and go silent. And then, carried on the wind, some swear they hear the faint rattle of heavy chains being dragged across a wooden deck. A few have even heard a man's voice, sharp and commanding, calling out an order in Creole French, "Basse le voile," lower the sail. But by the time you rub your eyes and look again, the light is gone. And more often than not, so is your luck for the rest of the night. The fish stop biting, nets come up empty, and the only thing you've caught is a chill that stays with you long after the sun comes up. Naturally, a story like this attracts treasure hunters. For over a century, divers and dreamers have combed the bottom of Barataria Bay, searching for that pirate gold. They come with sophisticated sonar, metal detectors, and old, tattered maps. And every single one of them comes back with nothing but a story to tell and a healthy new respect for the swamp. The Bayou doesn't give up its secrets easily. There was one fella, a few years back, who claimed he'd found something. He was a diver from out of state. Came down here thinking he'd be the one to solve the mystery. After weeks of searching, he surfaced with a single, mud-caked Spanish doubloon. He was certain it was from Lafitte's hoard. He cleaned it up, kept it in the cup holder of his truck for good luck. The very next day, on a perfectly clear afternoon with not a cloud in the sky, his truck spontaneously caught fire right there on the side of the road. It burned down to the metal frame. The coin was never found. The locals just nodded. They know. Jean Lafitte still protects what's his. The gold is cursed, they say. It belongs to the ghost, and he doesn't like to share. It's not just about treasure, though. It's about the feeling of the place. On a quiet night, when the air is still and the water is like glass, you can stand on the docks in the town of Lafitte and just listen. If you're patient, you might hear it. A faint, distant ship's bell ringing out over the water, but the lake is still, and your boat's radar screen is empty. There's nothing out there. The old-timers have a rule. If you hear that ghostly bell ring twice, it's a warning. Time to pack up your gear and head home. If you hear it ring 3 times, well, then it's too late to run. All you can do is pray. Pray the fog doesn't find you. So, where is the gold? Is it still down there, buried under 200 years of mud and myth? Or was it just a story? A legend that grew bigger than the man himself? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe the real treasure is the mystery. The whisper of history that still echoes through these cypress trees. But if you find yourself driving down to the coast tonight and you see a strange light moving slow and low through the fog over the water, do yourself a favor. Don't follow it. Don't try to get a closer look. Just turn your car around and go. Jean Lafitte is still sailing his spectral ship through these waters, and he isn't looking for company. He's just looking for his way home. Thanks for tuning in and listening to the whispers of the swamp with me. If you enjoy these tales from the dark corners of the map, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories. Stay safe out there and don't wander too far into the fog.